Hi guys, Ramon Goose here from The Guitar Show. This is Coffee Chat. This is where we drink some coffee with you, my friends, and it's all one take. So there's going to be some mess ups, but we're going to keep rolling. And this video's subject is ESP Navigator guitars. And another thing really is, why do I play ESP Navigator guitars? So we're going to get into that. I'm not going to really go too much into the history. I don't want to bore you guys. We're just going to talk about these guitars that I own and why I own them. So this is the first one I got. I'd heard about Orville by Gibson, Tokais, Bernies, all that stuff, and just found out that these were the best of the best. So kind of back in the day, my kind of, I think maybe 15 years ago, my kind of goal was to own a Navigator guitar and a Mystic Blues amp. That was kind of, where most people were into like Gibson custom shops and a Mesa Boogie or Soldano or whatever, or Two Rock. My thing was the Swedish-made Mystic Blues and the Navigator guitar made in Japan, which was really kind of people, my friends, guitar friends would go, what's Navigator? What's Mystic Blues? But that was just me. I've always kind of liked the kind of fringe stuff, This guitar here is great as a rhythm guitar, first and foremost. This one cost me $2,200 from eBay. I had to pay maybe some taxes on top of that, so it wasn't cheap. These things go for between £3,000 and £4,000 new. This one's super light, it's 8.25 pounds. I've made it heavier with some Schaller machine heads, old machine heads from the 80s or whatever. I put some Mojo pickups. This approximates the Peter Green neck pickup, and this is a Bernie Marsden Beast. So I can get that kind of Peter Green sound. You can hear that on my YouTube channel. But what I like about, what I think really makes a good Les Paul is you can strum it, Bit of almost. Lord, I was born rambling man, trying to make a living and doing the best I can. I was having a good time down in the battle. Dare to women think the world of me. Just great. That sort of Bad Company. And then obviously you kick into the overdrive. So that's what really makes a good Les Paul, is if you can strum it and have a really nice clean sound, then the overdrive is going to sound great. And that really comes down to the resonance of the body, the woods and everything. And this guitar just has it. Now after this guitar here, I bought one from 1997, and the neck width was a millimeter wider. So it's more like a jazz guitar, really wide neck. I didn't like that. The neck was too beefy and it was very heavy. It was like 9.4, 9.5 pounds. It was just too heavy for me, so I've got a shoulder problem. So this thing here is the one. I sold that one, and for me this has been the guitar. I mean, in fact, I actually sold this guitar. It's a long story, I won't go into it. I actually ended up selling this guitar, and then I found it, tracked it down to Scandinavia, bought it back, and when I got it back, I named this after a lady, and I won't embarrass her. So this has got a female name, which I won't tell you, but so this one's here to stay. It's kind of my Les Paul. And guys, you only need one Les Paul. When I say Les Paul, like a 59, 58 style, you don't need two of them. You just need one. Okay, fair enough. You want to get a gold top, you want to get custom. I understand that. But when we're talking about a burst, you only need one, and one good one. That's all you need, guys. Right, let's go to the next guitar. So, like I said, there was another Les Paul in between that one, before I got this one. So these two guitars that I'm showing you now are the kind of last incarnation of the building style of Navigator. This is really, they've got their game together. The consistency is amazing. And really, if you want a usable guitar that you can play, sounds great, after 2002-ish, this is the kind of style they did. This is, again, super light. It's a two-piece body, older wood, maple neck. I've replaced the machine heads with some Schallers. I've replaced the whole tremolo mechanism. I've replaced the pickups with Mojos. Put a doublier cap in there. So a lot of it has changed, but saying that, it's kind of got that Lenny. I know I've got a delay here, but so you can hear this. It's just got a great clean sound to it. Oh, by the way, those springs I just did there, raw vintage springs, I think they're from Japan as well, and raw vintage saddles. But yeah, this thing is my go-to guitar when I have to fly out, when we were allowed to fly. This was when I went to Europe, for example. I would fly with this guitar. This is the only guitar I need if I'm doing a gig, obviously with my slide guitar. But this is the one. This is the Band of Gypsies guitar. This is the Eric Clapton Blackguard guitar. This is the one. You know, so for me, I no longer have I'm no longer looking for an older body maple neck Strat. That's it. Okay, let's go next to the next one. Now the next guitar here, this is a 2004. This is a transitional guitar, because there was kind of like 3 eras of Navigators. The original ones in the 70s, which were made in Kasuga factory. Quite often they were polyurethane, and then the other ones, the second kind of era, were made more in-house, I think, with ESP, slightly better quality, but you know, that's debatable. The third era, we're going to talk about the third era in a minute, but this was kind of the transitional between the third and the fourth era. This is a 30th anniversary model. This cost me a song on Yahoo Auctions. I paid literally nothing for this guitar. It's maple neck. It's Carina wood. I've made a few mods. You can see it on my telecaster video that I've just posted. But this thing, you know, is... It's just got that beautiful sound with the flat wound strings. It's just, you know... I can do this kind of style. You know, whatever. You can do all that kind of Cuban stuff. You know, and it's just fantastic for that more experimental sort of style. That kind of vibe, that's really what I use this guitar for. I've seen another one in Japan. It's second hand for £2,400. So this is an expensive guitar. But guys, originally it would have probably been over £3,000, maybe 3,500 even. But this guitar is incredible. It's one of the best guitars I've ever played from any maker. It's just ridiculous. So that's the Carina Thin Line by Navigator. And you can see on these traditional ones, they have the ESP. So they have the ESP neck plate, and then they transitioned to having the serial number here, which was a lot easier to read. So this is 2004, and it says SO4, so it's a lot easier to kind of date. So after that thin line telly, I went and got a Blackguard telly, and this one here this is from 2012, so the same year as my Les Paul. The Les Pauls are made in the Kiso factory, and these bolt-on necks are made in another factory. And remember, these are made alongside, you know, the high-end ESP Japanese guitars. And another thing, if you can see, I'll probably show you this in another video, but they do these kind of fret edge binding things where they put little slots of wood And I'll try and film it, but for you on another video, because you really have to sort of, it's hard to see, but the attention to detail on the fret edge on these bottleneck guitars is incredible. So, you know, this has got a Don Mayer pickup. These come with Seymour Duncan Antiquity pickups, but I normally change them to taste, you know. Everything else is stock. I put some Fender compensated saddles. But otherwise, it's pretty much, you know, as it came, as I got it, really. And it's just a great guitar. So it's kind of my Andy Summers sort of, you know, thing. Sorry. This thing is so good that if I sold everything, I'll probably just keep this. Because it's just, you know, the Blackguard is the most versatile guitar. Another great guitarist is the guitarist that joined Sting after Andy Summers, Dominic Miller. Although Andy Summers was in the Police, he didn't really join Sting. So. How did I remember that? Well, Dominic Miller is, of course, is famous for and of course, I don't drink coffee, I drink tea, my dear. You know, so on and so forth. We won't get into that. So anyway, this is an incredible guitar. It's owned by some Japanese punk, and you can see the wear and tear on this because the finishes are so thin that it's easy to relic. You know, Navigator don't relic guitars. And this was owned by a Japanese punk guy. And this guy, you know, when Japanese play any kind of music, they really go at it 100%, you know. So if they're playing punk, they really go, they go over the top. You know, there's no restraint. So, you know, if you've had a Japanese guitar owned by a punk guitarist, you know it. So that was a Blackguard. Now, this is where things started getting interesting. So, I ended up buying two SGs, and the reason is I bought one from the fourth era, which is all the guitars I've just shown you, and then I bought one from the third era, which is going from the mid-90s until 2002-ish, and the SG that I got, which was around 2007, so the last era, was amazing. It was an incredible, beautiful neck. Everything was perfect. It was an incredible instrument. But this thing here just had something special about it. And this was my first introduction to the third era, which was from 1997 or something to 2002-ish, I'd say. Probably a different guys building these, or they had a different way of building them, both the strats, tellies, and the glued-on necks. This thing is a monster. The neck is huge on it. I think it's maybe a wider nut, almost 44 millimeters. Bearing in mind that I had that Les Paul that I didn't like, but this thing just seems to work. It's just, you know, and for the overdrive sort of tones. You know, it's just got. So it's just got that great sort of. So as you can see, this thing has just got it. It's just like when I first got hold of it, I was like, WTF? I was just like, they can't be serious. But you'd have to see it in person to really appreciate the vibe of this thing. So it's incredible, and it's got a great acoustic tone as well. Just got that sizzle. So yeah, totally blown away by this. It's beaten up. It's been relicked, you know, naturally, not in the shop, but it's pretty much original. I've just changed the pickups, and I've got to a point now where I don't really like to fiddle around too much with them like I did before. So I've been looking for a Rosewood Strat for 20 years, and I bought a Navigator 2010. So I bought a beautiful 2010 stratocaster with a rosewood neck. The neck shape was wrong for me. It was great guitar, but it wasn't what I was looking for. And I've tried to make them. I've bought custom shops. I've bought this, and never really found a rosewood neck Strat that I liked until I found this guitar. This guitar is 1997. It's got a different type of lacquer. So these transitional models had different kind of nitro, which cracks a lot easier. Again, Honduras mahogany. Honduras rosewood on the board. This thing is a beautiful. You know, it's just beautiful. It's the Strat that we've all been looking for. Well, I have anyway. And it's just got that kind of, you can play like Texas Blue. Messed up the last bit. Anyway, so yeah, this thing has just got the mojo. I've replaced the frets. So I've refretted it because it came with these really skinny frets. But I think Navigator they kind of got it right. They put these bigger necks on the guitars, and then they kind of got scared. And after 2002, started putting skinnier C necks on these Strats, which was a shame because I think they really got it right on the first run. The Rosewood is slightly thinner as well. And bearing in mind that ESP owned a real Firebird from '58, they owned a real '59 Les Paul, you know, real SGs from back in the 60s and 50s. So they actually own these instruments that they're copying, you know. That's another important sort of thing. But it's just... It's got it. You can do it. So that's kind of when I started getting into this other era, which is the third era between 1997 and 2002. And this is the newest acquisition, which is my green telly. I love this. This is kind of the Robin Ford thing. So it's just got that great... So it's got that great kind of in-between Robin Ford thing that he had on those albums such as Supernatural and Mystic Mile and all those great albums, Handful of Blues. But then when you go to the back pickup... You know, you can do all the Robin Ford stuff on this thing. So, you know, that it kind of, this is as well from maybe the mid 90s or 97. So this third era, I think, was a golden period for Navigator. And that's my kind of, one of the reasons I want to do this video is I didn't want to keep the secret to myself. I just want to tell you guys that the best era ever for Navigator guitars, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, is really the mid 90s until 2002, I guess. People are going to argue with me, but, you know, these are just opinions. Okay, we're going to finish up on this beast. This is something I've always wanted. You know, some people want Flying V's. I've always wanted an Explorer. And for me, you know, just seeing Clapton, you know, on the Arms concert, you know, playing a real simple... Just like playing some real simple blues on this crazy guitar. I mean, obviously, it's pretty famous for the... You know, for all that kind of stuff. But just for that kind of blues sound and that... Sorry. All that sort of stuff, and you know, it's just like if you want to really play some power chords, it's just got that spank, and as well for the, you know, like I was saying, for the blues, it's a... This thing is Carina wood. It's got some Mojo pickups, which I had to replace because everything had been gutted out of this guitar. And it looked like it had been hanging above in a pub ceiling because it was caked in nicotine, which took me all day to get rid of all the nicotine off it. But it's got so much Mojo, so I didn't want to strip the finish. It's probably made around 95, just from the serial number. This is one of the best guitars I've ever played. I would put this up there with a real 58. It's got the vibe, the cracking in the nitro finish. I've done a couple of videos on this. You can see this, me putting it together. It's butchered. as you can see. But this thing is absolutely incredible. It's got the vibe of a real vintage 58 for me, and I just love it. So they're kind of like a testament to how close Navigator can get to a real vintage Gibson guitar. Okay, so I want to end this video and say, look, I'm not trying to say these guitars are better than Gibsons or Fenders. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you should go now and run out and buy a Navigator guitar. I'm not saying that either. It's like I said, just like with the Mystic Blues amp, projector amp and stuff like that, I kind of like weird kind of equipment. I just get kind of nerdy about something a little bit on the fringe, and I try and look for the best of the best that works for me, and like I said, maybe a Gibson custom shop or a Fender custom shop or master built is going to be better than these guitars. So I'm not saying these you should go out and run out and buy one. Also, they might not work for you, because another thing about these guitars is the neck shapes are pretty weird. Maybe the instrument they have to copy has a strange neck shape. This particular neck shape is amazing, and the more modern Navigators are great, but the ones from my favorite period from 2002, 97 to 2002, they have big neck shapes, and they might not be for everybody, so you might not like them. So I'm not going to say go out and buy them. You really want to play a guitar before you buy them, unless you've got money to throw away, which we might not have in this current climate. So hopefully that's just giving you an example of my Navigators. The reason why I like them personally is because I just connect with those guitars, and I connect better with the Navigator than I do with a Gibson or a Fender. So if you give me a Fender guitar, I'm going to love it, but I'm going to love this more. And I don't really have an interest in Fender and Gibson guitars. That may sound strange because these are copies, but I'm much more interested in Navigator's approximation. For me, I have a weird obsession with Navigator guitars, as you can probably tell. And I don't have that need or want from any Fender or Gibson guitar. Maybe the vintage stuff from the 50s and 60s, yeah. But nothing new that I played has really, made me impressed. But, they're making great guitars. So this is a total personal thing. I just love these guitars. They work well with me. They're cheap. I can get them cheap secondhand, and they're super high quality. And that's really about it, really. Like I said, I'm not an endorser. I have no contact with ESP Navigator. I'd like to. I'd like for them to give me a free guitar. Please give me a free guitar. But I don't know them. I've never spoken to them. Maybe you can speak to them on my behalf. That would be great. But I'm a fan of these guitars, and I just wanted to make this video. It's a coffee chat. My coffee's gone cold, but great guys. Bob's sending me a video, I think, tonight. So you're going to get 2 videos for the price of one. You're going to get my video about ESP Navigators, and then you're going to get Bob's ones about some real cool, real guitars now. So take care, guys. Hope you've enjoyed this video. See you soon.